What if I told you your thoughts are literally shaping what happens at the smallest scales of the universe? Imagine the edge of reality, so tiny it's measured in lengths we can't even grasp, and that edge is where you meet your power. At the level of the Planck length, physics whispers that everything is potential, everything is possible, and yes, you're involved. You've heard about manifestation, spiritual growth, quantum leaps, but this story goes deeper, to the place where matter becomes pure possibility. What if quantum physics and spirituality aren't separate fields, they're two languages describing the same mystery, and your next breakthrough lies where they converge? Stay with me, by the end of this video you'll not only see your life differently, you'll begin to practice it differently. We live in a world of cause and effect. We believe, work hard, get results. Suffer now, succeed later. But there's a deep frustration in this model. Many of us wake up one day and realize, despite the exertion, the striving, that doing everything right, something is missing. The feeling, why am I still stuck? I want to lay bare the core problem. We are living as if reality is fixed, as if we're subject to forces beyond our influence, unaware that at the subatomic level, things behave very differently. On one hand, spirituality tells us, you are more than your body, more than your past, more than your environment. You create your reality, say the teachers. On the other hand, science, especially classical, Newtonian physics, tells us, you are subject to physical laws, the world is solid, external, unchangeable by mere thought. That duality leaves us in conflict. We're wired to believe the world is external, we're the victims of circumstance, and then we hear that our consciousness matters. It's confusing. We feel powerless and frustrated. Let me share a story. Meet Sarah, a 34-year-old marketing executive in New York. On the surface, her life looked perfect, good job, nice apartment, plenty of friends. But inside, she felt empty. She had dreams of creating something meaningful, of feeling connected, but every time she tried to manifest a shift, she felt stuck. She visualized her ideal life, she journaled, she meditated, yet months passed with little change. She wondered, am I doing it wrong? Is manifestation just wishful thinking? She felt trapped between spiritual promise and the rigid world of cause and effect. Why? Because she was applying a three-dimensional model to a field that doesn't obey three-dimensional rules. At the scale of everyday life, Newtonian mechanics dominate. Things collide, cause and effect flow. But at the scale of the Planck length, the universe is not behaving like a billiard ball world. The fundamental particles, the waves, the probabilities, they dance differently. Science shows us that at the smallest scale, matter becomes energy and possibilities when we continue using the old model, if I work hard, I get X, we miss our deeper role. When we don't understand that our consciousness, our energy, our focus may matter, we remain disempowered. Add to that a spiritual system that promises, you just feel good and things will come, without the scientific grounding, and many people float between hope and skepticism. Mixed messages, scattered practices, no cohesive system. The result? The vast majority of seekers feel some hope, but little transformation. They manifest some things, often accidental, but not the deep change they long for. Here's the larger problem, we're neglecting the quantum realm, the realm of infinite possibility, of influencing reality from the inside out. We're ignoring the fact that your intention, your energy, your embodied state matters more than just your actions. The result? We stay in survival mode, stuck in the old loop of, do more, get more, burn out. Our consciousness remains a passive passenger, rather than a co-creator. In many ways, the Planck length is the metaphor for this stuckness, the world so tiny, so underlying, yet so foundational. If you don't acknowledge that level, you'll keep working at the surface, and the surface won't budge. When you whisper, I want change, but inside you feel small, powerless, disconnected, the quantum field laughs gently, because you're sending weak signals. If your thoughts and feelings don't align with your desired outcome, you're broadcasting noise, not intent. The problem is deep, structural. the separation between our spiritual longing and our scientific understanding. And until we bridge that gap, until we step into the quantum spiritual intersection, we remain stuck. Sarah's story is many of ours. She thought change would come if she just did more. But the shift required was less doing and more becoming. To transform, she needed to understand, what happens at the Planck length matters, and she could influence that. And so can you. Now, let's explore the discovery, the tipping point when everything changes. It began in the early 20th century when scientists like Max Planck, Niels Bohr and others realized that matter isn't continuous, but quantized. The Planck length, about 1.616 times 10 superscript 3 meters, is the scale at which classical descriptions break down. At that scale, space, time, matter as we know them dissolve into a sea of probabilities. Quantum physics reveals, everything is energy, everything is vibration, everything is potential. What actually happens at the Planck length becomes what happens when you reach the boundary where possibility condenses into form. Another key discovery, the observer effect. In quantum experiments, simply observing a quantum system changes its outcome. Your attention matters. Your consciousness seems to participate. In simpler terms, the world is not independent of you, it may respond to your focus, your energy, your being. Spiritual traditions have long said, as within, so without. Modern physics whispers, maybe, as you observe, so it becomes. Back to Sarah's story. One morning she discovered the idea that her thoughts, her sustained intention plus elevated feeling, could send a coherent signal into the quantum field. She read of the principle, thoughts equals electrical charge, emotions equals magnetic charge. Suddenly, manifestation wasn't about forcing things externally, it was about aligning internally. She realized, the missing piece wasn't action alone, it was coherence, thought, emotion, body united. Practical exercise, sit quietly for 5 minutes. Visualize the life you want. Then ask, what feeling would I have if it were already real? Experience that feeling now, gratefully, fully. Know that you are sending a signal into the field. This exercise turns on the discovery switch for you, it shifts you from subject to participant. The discovery continues, you are not separate from the quantum sea. You are a wave of possibility. Many traditional spiritual systems say you are a spark of the divine. Quantum science says you are energy. When you combine these, you are energy intelligently wielded. Here's a second story. Jack, age 45, investor and recovering stressed father, tried to manifest peace. He meditated and visualized calm, yet his life remained chaotic. The discovery came when he started focusing not just on the calm, but feeling the calm, embodying it, and acting as if the calm were already present, even before external evidence. He shifted his internal state, waited for the field to respond, and then, surprise, synchronistic emails, supportive colleagues, new opportunities, all showing up in unexpected ways. Because the quantum field isn't linear. It doesn't check your to-do list. It responds to alignment. And that is the big discovery, you don't force the world to change, you become the version of yourself who lives in a changed reality, and the field responds. In essence, the Planck length threshold is less about the measurement and more about your awareness. What happens when you shift your inner state? What happens when you treat your consciousness as a participant, rather than a spectator? The discovery is yours, you are both wave and observer. You are both consciousness and formation. You are both energy and purpose. Once you see this, the old problem dissolves. The stuckness begins to shift. You begin to practice differently, less frantic doing, more aligned being. Once you've discovered the landscape of possibility, the question becomes, how do you work with it? Here is a method, blending quantum physics and spirituality, to navigate that Planck-edge territory and manifest your desired life. Step 1, clear intention plus definition. Be specific. The quantum field responds to clear signals. Ask, what do I want? Why do I want it? What will it feel like? Write it down in as much detail as possible. This is your mind signal, electric, heading into the field. Example: Sarah wanted a soulful business that supports people's growth, allows her freedom, uses her gifts, feels joyful every day. She wrote it daily. Step 2. Embody the emotion. Your feelings are the magnetic part of manifestation. Without emotion, intention has little pull. Sit quietly and feel the emotional state of already having it. Gratitude, joy, peace, freedom, all valid. Hold that feeling. The quantum field recognizes your vibration. Practical exercise: set a 10-minute window each morning. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, bring your intention to mind, then let yourself feel the corresponding emotion as if it's already here. Step 3. Coherent signal. Many people misuse intention and emotion. They imagine what they want but feel fear or doubt. That mismatch creates a messy signal. The method demands coherence, your thoughts, feelings, and body aligned. No, I want this, paired with, but maybe I can't. The signal must be clean. Practical exercise: when you notice resistance, fear, doubt, pause and identify it. Ask, what am I believing? Replace it with the truth of my desired state. Step 4. Surrender the how. Classical self-improvement tells you to plan every step. The quantum method teaches you: decide the what, embody the how, then let the field handle the how. Trust. Let go. This doesn't mean inaction. It means action inspired, not forced. One of the most powerful spiritual and scientific intersections is surrendering your effort to a bigger intelligence at play. Practical exercise: after your intention-emotion practice, write down one inspired action for the day, then release the rest. Don't obsess over the how many steps, just stay aligned. Step 5. Momentum and maintenance. Consistency is your friend. The quantum field responds to sustained aligned energy. Create momentum. Repeat your practices, embed your desired state, reinforce your coherence. Practical exercise: create a daily ritual, 10 minutes morning, 5 minutes evening, where you revisit your intention, embody the emotion, and sense the momentum building. Step 6. Recognize the unexpected. Manifestation doesn't often arrive in the expected package. The quantum field has infinite ways. So watch for synchronicities, surprises, openings you didn't plan. Stay sensitive. Journal the wow moments. They're evidence you're shifting the field. Practical exercise: at night, write 3 unexpected small wins you experienced that day, even tiny ones. This trains your awareness to pick up on the response of the field. Let's return to Sarah and Jack. Sarah's method looked like this. She wrote her intention every morning, felt the emotion of freedom, acted with one inspired step, reach out to a mentor, surrendered the rest, repeated daily. 2 months in, she began receiving emails from people she'd never met but who connected her to her new business vision. Jack's method was similar: daily feeling of calm, one small action in line with it, surrender. Soon his inbox contained opportunities he hadn't sought, but that aligned perfectly. This method is the link between the lab science and the inner world. Quantum physics says the observer affects outcome, spirituality says your consciousness matters, the method gives you steps. You do not have to force the world to align. You align yourself and you become the conductor of your reality. At the Planck length, everything is probabilities, so you step into the version you want and let the field support you. What happens when you apply this method consistently? Transformation. Real, embodied transformation, not just, I learned something, but, I became something else. When you move from stuck to aligned, you shift realities. You shift at the level of quantum potential, and your outer world begins to mirror the inner. Let's look at what that transformation feels like. Inner transformation: you begin to identify less with your past, your labels, your limitations. You recognize yourself as energetic, as conscious, as creative. Your awareness expands. You feel the value of your presence, not just your performance. The old story, I have to prove myself, I have to earn love. The new story, I already matter, I already belong, I already co-create. You sense deeply that at the Planck length everything is a field of possibility, so you inhabit a state of being, not just doing. Emotional transformation, instead of fear, scarcity, waiting, you feel trust, abundance, flow. Sarah reported that after weeks of practice, she didn't feel, achieve this, then be, but, I am worthy now, I am already flowing, and external forms will catch up. Jack found his stress melted, not because the external chaos disappeared, but because his inner frequency changed. The field responded, and his environment shifted accordingly. Relational transformation, when you shift your field, your relationships shift. Because everything is connected. At the quantum scale, entanglement shows particles are linked across space. Similarly, you begin attracting people, synchronicities, opportunities that resonate with your new frequency. Not by brute force, but by alignment. You become magnetic for what matches your state. Manifestation transformation, finally, your external world begins to reflect your inner shift, but often in surprising ways. Maybe you get a new job, maybe you find clarity, maybe the relationship you longed for shows up, but often the biggest transformation is the person you became in the waiting. Because the Planck length domain isn't about, just get that job, but, be the person who has that job. The field rearranges itself around you. Another story, Maria, teacher and mother, used this method to heal her relationship with money. She chose an intention, I create with abundance. She felt the emotion of contribution and mastery. She took inspired steps, sharing her gifts, offering value. She surrendered the rest. Within months, unexpected clients found her, extra income came, but the deeper shift, she felt secure, empowered, worthy. Not because the money was huge, but because her identity upgraded. At the Planck edge she rewrote her blueprint, and the field responded. What does this look like practically? A shifted daily life. You wake up and your first thought isn't, I have to hustle. It's, what vibration will I embody today? Your decisions are not reactive, they're creative. You feel guided. You notice the subtle whispers of intuition, and you act upon them. And you trust, the quantum field is responsive. Transformation is not forced, it's emerging. You're not trying harder, you're aligning smarter. The Planck length metaphor is that edge where form emerges from possibility, so you step into that edge and you let your reality be drawn to you. The world begins to mirror your inner image. When you live from that place, the old problem, stuckness, doing more, striving, fades. The discovery, you are energy, observer, participant, becomes your knowing. The method becomes your tool. And transformation becomes your lifestyle. The Planck length is no longer abstract, it becomes your doorway. Now that transformation has begun, or at least the possibility of it, you're invited into a mission. Not just for yourself, but for something bigger. Because when you realize you're a co-creator at the quantum edge, your life takes on purpose. Your mission becomes, to carry this awareness into the world, to serve, to elevate not just your reality but collective reality. Why mission? Because the spiritual quantum bridge doesn't end with personal gain, it expands into contribution. At the Planck scale everything is interconnected. Your vibration affects more than you think. So your mission is to grow conscious and bring others with you. It's to help humanity shift from, we are victims, to, we are creators. It's to challenge the old story of separation and awaken the story of unity. Here's how you can begin. Share your story. Be open about your journey from stuck to aligned. Share the moments of doubt, the shift, the results. Others will resonate. Sarah and Jack did this, they spoke about what changed inside and what followed outside. Your story becomes a bridge for others. Teach by your state. Your elevated state, rather than your words, carries the signal. People sense authenticity. When you embody coherence, you radiate possibility. Your mission is not to convert people, it's to invite them by your presence. Create practices for others. You might lead a group, offer a workshop, write, podcast, whatever fits you. The quantum spiritual method is replicable. Help others define intention, feel aligned emotion, maintain coherence, surrender the how, build momentum, recognize the unexpected. Live as example. When your outer reality begins to reflect your inner state, you become proof. Your life becomes an experiment and an offering. This inspires. It shifts cultural assumptions, that we are limited, that we are separate, that we must always struggle. Expand the collective field. The quantum field is universal. Your work influences far beyond your circle. Your mission contributes to a wider awakening, people waking to their power, to the unified field of possibility. As more people embody this edge, collective reality changes. One final story to illustrate mission. Emily, once corporate lawyer, felt called to something larger. After going through the method, she started a community of conscious leaders. She shared her personal shift. Helped others apply the method. 6 months later they collectively launched a service to bring coherence and consciousness into workplaces. Emily's mission wasn't just about her life, it was about raising the collective vibration. The quantum field of her organization began to shift, culture changed, people thrived. Your mission might look different, but the pattern is the same: inner alignment, outer influence, collective uplift. You don't wait for permission. You start now. You don't need someone else to lead. You become the leader of your own field, and invite others to step in. So here's the big invitation: at the Planck length, where form arises from possibility, you've discovered you're an essential player. Now you step into mission mode. Let your life be the demonstration. Let your story be the inspiration. Let your vibration be the contribution. This video touched something in you. If you felt a surge of, yes, this is real, this is possible, do this right now. Grab a notebook. Write your clear intention. Sit with that intention, feel the emotion of it being real now. Commit to this method daily for the next 30 days. And comment below, share one thing you intend to manifest, what you feel it would be like, and the first small action you'll take today. Let's build a community of creators. Drop a like if you're ready to step into the edge. Subscribe for more explorations where science meets spirit. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. And share this video with someone who's ready to shift from doing hard to being powerful. Your mission awaits. Let's walk it together.